Hello, this is Angela from Natural Living Alchemy. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be making a homemade hazelnut spread with just 6 ingredients that you most likely already have in your cupboard or can be very easily acquired. Now, I am using my lacto fermented nuts from last week's video, but you can certainly use any non-fermented nut that you want. So let's talk about the ingredients in store-bought hazelnut spread, and you're going to see why our homemade version is actually much healthier, or at least as healthy as a chocolate nut spread can really be. Store-bought hazelnut spread, once you really start looking at those ingredients, should actually be considered more of a dessert than a spread that is marketed for, well, breakfast or sandwiches. Now, I will be talking mainly about a specific brand of hazelnut spread, but they all seem to be created pretty similarly, and I got all of the information that I'm about to share directly off of the Nutella website. Now, it claims to have no artificial colors or preservatives, but what does it actually contain? Let's go over these ingredients briefly. Our first one, sugar. In store-bought hazelnut spread, sugar makes up approximately 55% of the entire product. And high levels of sugar, as we know, can lead to weight gain and blood sugar spikes. Palm oil is our next ingredient, and it is used for its smooth texture and long shelf life. Now, this oil is safe for consumption to the body, but it is not so great to the environment. You see, the use and the harvest of palm oil is a significant contributor to some environmental concerns, such as the deforestation of the rainforest. And this happens in countries like Indonesia and Malaysia. Now, those two countries account for over 85% of the global production of palm oil, and it is our rainforests that are paying the price. With that being said, according to the Nutella website, they do use a certified sustainable palm oil. I do not know if this is true for the other brands, but I do think it's important to pass along this piece of information so you can decide what you want to do with it. Our next ingredient that I want to go over is hazelnuts. We would expect to find hazelnuts in a hazelnut spread. Here's the thing. In our store-bought version, 13% of the entire product is hazelnuts, and they are claiming that they have over 50 in one 13-ounce jar. This is what 57 hazelnuts look like. Our recipe is using this much. I believe there are 253, I think. I counted them all. Check out the description box below this video. There's going to be a link to the full written blog article that does go into more detail than what I am sharing here, and that is where I counted all of these out. What we have here, my friends, is a concept called label appeal. So this is a concept that is found quite commonly in skincare products, where a company puts a small amount of a certain ingredient in there so that it can get on the label, therefore making it more appealing. We would expect a hazelnut spread to be mainly made of hazelnuts, not sugar. But that's what our homemade version is going to be, because the store-bought version let us down. So, our next ingredient is going to be cocoa powder. Traditional store-bought hazelnut spread, cocoa powder makes up 7.4% of the entire product. Our next ingredient is skim milk powder, and that makes up 8.7% of the entire store-bought hazelnut spread. Adding skim milk powder actually does also increase the sugar content, so that is something to be considerate about. We have 2 final ingredients that can be found in our store-bought hazelnut spread. One is lecithin, and this is a soy product. It is used as an emulsifier, helping to keep everything together. And our final ingredient is vanillin, and this is a flavoring. So vanillin is a little bit different than vanilla. Vanilla is an extract derived from the pods of the vanilla orchid. Vanillin is a single compound found in vanilla, but is often produced synthetically, making it a much cheaper alternative. The equipment you're going to require to mix up this hazelnut spread would be a blender. You're going to need a jar for storage, a spatula to kind of scrape everything down off the sides of your blender, and then measuring spoons and cups. So what I'm going to do before I start mixing it up is I'm just going to give you the measurements for all of our ingredients, because some of them are a little bit customizable depending on how much of each that you necessarily want to put in. What do I mean by that? Okay, so you're going to first off need 2 cups of hazelnuts that have been roasted and peeled. You're going to need a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. You're going to need anywhere from 1/3 of a cup all the way to 1 cup of powdered sugar. You're going to need vanilla. So you're going to start anywhere from 1/2 teaspoon all the way to 2 tablespoons of vanilla, depending how much you like. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of a neutral oil. And then I like to just add just a little pinch of sea salt into mine when I'm mixing it up. So to begin, you're going to need to roast and peel your nuts. And I will tell you how to do that once we get to the notes and substitutions portion of this video. So we're going to start by putting 2 cups of our hazelnuts into a blender. And then you are going to turn your blender on and you're going to process these nuts until they start to get a little bit more of a creamy consistency and smoother. Now be sure as you are mixing it up that you are taking a spatula and you are just periodically scraping down the sides of your blender. Now my blender's a little bit old. We're going on like 10 years here and the motor is not as good as she used to be. So your blender might go a little bit quicker than what mine is, but I'm waiting for this one to completely die before I replace her. But you're going to want to just scrape down the sides to make sure that everything is getting crushed up and mixed up consistently. All right, so once you have all of your hazelnuts blended up, to scrape everything down off the sides, we are going to start adding our other ingredients. So we're going to do 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, now you're going to require 1/3 of a cup all the way up to 1 cup of powdered sugar, depending on how sweet you like it. So when I make this, I like to do like just 1/3 and just like a little bit. I find that that's a good flavor for my preferences. So we'll do our 1/2 teaspoon all the way up to 2 tablespoons of vanilla. I like to use 1 tablespoon. I really like the flavor of vanilla though. If you don't like it as much, you would just can start smaller and add up from there the next time you make it. And then here I am just going to add just a pinch of salt in. And now we are going to just start mixing all of these ingredients together before it is time to drizzle in our oil. So once everything is mostly mixed up, what you're going to do is you're going to turn your blender back on and you're just going to take your oil and you're going to drizzle it in, and we're just going to keep mixing it until it is that nice consistency. Now you may need to add a little bit more oil to just get that consistency that you're looking for, but I'm going to suggest that you just start with the 2 tablespoons. and just keep scraping the sides of your blender down as needed until it's all mixed in. Okay, so once everything is nicely mixed in, it's the consistency that you like. Now, just keep in mind, I find when I make this myself, it's kind of the same as when you're having homemade peanut butter or peanut butter that is literally just peanuts ground up. It's a little bit thicker than what regular peanut butter is. It's kind of the same. I find, at least when I make this, it's a little bit thicker than what the store-bought stuff would be, but that's okay. That's how I like it. I also don't mind having like little chunks of the hazelnuts in mine, so it really depends on how smooth you want yours to be, but I like where this ended up. So all I'm going to do is just take a clean jar and put our spread into our jar. Delicious. So our shelf life here would be 2 weeks just sitting on the counter, or up to 2 months in the refrigerator. Now, because this is a low acid, high fat recipe, it is not going to be one that is suitable for any type of canning procedure, at least to my knowledge. So we're just going to stick it on the counter for 2 weeks or in the fridge for 2 months. So we have now reached the notes and substitutions portion of this video, where I share additional notes and substitutions that you might want to consider making. So you might want to consider adding different flavors into your spread, such as cinnamon or even nutmeg. You could use different nuts or a combination of nuts to make your own unique spread. You could ferment yours like I did to make them more bioavailable and nutritious with increased digestibility. If you want to learn how to do that, check out, there's going to be a video linked in that description box below this one. You could also substitute the powdered sugar for another sweetener, maybe even like maple syrup. Now, if you are wanting to roast your nuts, depending on if they're fermented or not. So if you fermented your nuts, you're just going to place them on a thin layer on a baking sheet, and you're going to place them in the oven at the lowest temperature that your oven will go. So mine is 170, so I'll just set it for that. And you're going to roast them for up to 12 hours, stirring every few hours just to ensure even roasting. And you're going to start checking them around that 8-hour mark to see if you like them. Mine went for about 10 hours before I pulled them out, and I was happy with them. If they are not fermented, you would then place them on a thin layer on a baking sheet still, and then put them in an oven that is at 350 degrees for up to 15 minutes, stirring every 5. Okay, so that's how we're going to roast them, but then you're going to need to peel them. So what I like to do is take a clean dish towel. Let's just move some of these things out of my way here. And then you're going to take your nuts. Now, this does work better if they're still warm. So what I like to do is, once they've been in the oven, take them out, let them sit on the counter for maybe 5 minutes, just so that they're not going to burn your hands. Okay? And then you're just going to put a desired amount on your towel. Actually, I probably shouldn't have folded the towel. Okay. So once your nuts are in the towel, you're just going to pick it up and you're just going to rub the nuts together in the towel pretty vigorously. And then, as you can see on our towel, the skin starts to come off. Now, Because these have cooled off, if I was doing a whole bunch, I'd probably just throw them back in that oven for a couple minutes just to warm them up. But that's all you need to do. Okay, so you're just going to do that until all of your nuts have been peeled. Now, do you need all of the skin to come off of the nuts? You don't. You're going to aim for about 90% of the peel to be removed. If you don't remove the peel, all that means is you're just going to have little bits of peel in your hazelnut spread. Personally, I don't notice it that much, but you might, and you're just going to get a better overall product if you do take the few minutes that it's going to take to peel the skins off of your nuts. So there you go. That is how easy it is to make your own delicious hazelnut spread. So don't forget to hit the like button if you've liked this video and share it with anyone else who you think might enjoy it. Consider subscribing to the channel so that we can spend more time together and that you don't miss future videos. But I just want to say thanks for stopping by today, and I'll see you next time.